Panharmonicon presents a podcast.
Steve! Look up.
Hello, boys.
What?
What is up?
No.
Wait,
Oh
wait, guys,
my
wait,
God.
check me out. Wait, hear me out.
You're lying!
Wait.
No way.
Hear me out.
No way.
Hear me out.
What are you doing?
It's much easier than it looks. I swear, it's much easier than it looks.
Oh my God, dude.
But make sure you catch yourself and don't try
I got
and
it,
jump
I
when
got
you
it,
just
I got it.
flip yourself.
Come on, Matt. Come on.
All right.
Oh,
And a one, and a two, and a 1, 2, 3.
A skibbity doo, a skibbity bop. And when you come, you can shamrock. A skibbity doo, a skibbity bip. I'm gonna bust your lip. Boom, 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 boom.
Boom, boom.
Panharmonicon
Presents a podcast.
Barbershop quartet. Barbershop triplet.
Wasn't expecting that one, was you?
I wasn't.
We weren't either. That just kind of came out of nowhere. It has nothing to do with what we're going to be talking about later
Not at all.
today. But
That's, you can tell me that's not the theme song for Chronicle?
not in the version I watched.
I watched the director's cut.
It would have been pretty interesting
Much
in
happier version.
in the cut that I was. And did you watch the director's cut?
I did.
Okay, because
Really?
I got some questions about the director's cut. But before we get into that,
Yeah.
I am one of your trio of hosts, Damon.
I'm another a duo host, dose host,
Whoa.
number
We're
2.
receding. That's
I didn't
You were
know
doing
how to
so
find
good last
trio.
time.
What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Panharmonicon. It's freaking Andrew, dude.
what? And this is Farron.
Oh, okay.
I was about to
So we're going to leave that off for
So-
Andrew, I guess,
Yes.
to put himself
I'll
out
take
there
that.
like
And
that.
I am so well.
I deserve it.
I was gonna, I don't want to go full Blink 182 because I would
Where
be
are
talking
you?
like that the rest of the whole podcast.
Is that YouTube voice for you, Blink 182?
I think it kind of like...
That.
Whoa.
Yep.
I can't follow you down that one, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
That one was
You started something there.
Yeah.
too much peanut butter.
Can't open the mouth. Was that milk commercial where the dude was eating a peanut butter sandwich, and then he was listening to the radio, and there was if you call in now to answer this question, you get like $1 million or something like that, but he couldn't answer the question because he didn't have milk. And his mouth was stuck because of the peanut butter. He was going, and then he called it. No.
I don't think I ever got served this God milk commercial.
I remember. I forget what the guy looks like, but I remember that
I'll
commercial.
have to look it up.
Yeah.
It was a very funny commercial from back in the day, and what we're watching, I wouldn't call a very funny movie,
No.
even
No.
close to it. Today, we are watching. Well, we watched. You are watching us talk about Chronicle, 2012 movie. February 2012 is when it came out. Had a budget of $15 million. Had a box office of $123.6 million.
Not bad.
Worldwide. Almost split down the middle. Not super down the middle, but 64 domestic, 59 international. 85% critic score versus a 72% audience on Rotten Tomatoes. Since I've started this little scale part, one of our lower rated movies.
Yeah.
And things that came out when Chronicle was in theaters. The Woman in Black. Do not remember that one.
That was a horror movie
I
with
did think it was a horror
Daniel
movie, right?
Radcliffe.
I think so.
Yeah.
I looked into it
Yeah.
after because I was like, I don't remember this movie, and I think there's something recently came out that has a similar name to it.
The Woman in the Yard.
The
or
Woman in
something.
the Arm or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Vow, Safe House, Journey 2, and a 3D re-release of The Phantom Menace, which I do not remember coming out in
I don't
2012 at
remember that.
all.
I don't remember.
But
yeah.
it made like $60 million.
I went to that and I got the there was Darth Maul glasses because I think you could do it in like 3D or something.
Yeah, it was a 3D
Like,
re-release.
Yeah, and then I lost those. That's wow. That's a memory. Hot dog.
Memories.
So while all that was coming out,
Dang.
Chronicle slipped in.
Dag. Yeah. Yeah. I remember, before we get into that, folks, if you could remember to got it, business as usual. If you like what you're listening to, of course, we'd very much appreciate it if you could like. And if you don't like what you're listening to, you can thumbs down it. Would very much like to hear why. That way we can sort of pivot, as Amos talked about in previous episodes, so we can kind of learn what you like. Also, it does wonders for the podcast if you can help by sharing it, subscribing, and also making sure to turn on notifications. All notifications, preferably. Now, we do typically post our podcast episodes on YouTube on Mondays, and then Tuesday, the following day, it is released on Spotify. But there is other content that is being released not on those days. We want to make sure that you all are aware. And of course, as we evolve and put more out, we just want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to see it.
Also, follow our socials. Pretty much everything is Panharmonicon Studios. Mm-hmm. For you guys on Spotify, definitely leave us a rating if you can and a comment. But because I can't put just like random clips out on Spotify, if you go to our like Twitter, our Blue Sky, or our Instagram, it's there. You can see it in all its glory. Because you guys are like on Spotify, and you probably hear us talk about like Damon released an episode of So What the Hell Was, and you're like, well, that's not on Spotify. It's not, because I can't put it on there because it's not attached to an episode. But if you go on YouTube or any of our other socials, it's there. You can see it. Laugh if you liked it. Don't laugh if you didn't. I don't want no fake laughs. And also follow us there, because eventually I'm going to be like able to put things out there that happen before our main episode happens on Monday. So follow us on our socials. And now back into our scheduled movie.
Before we do that, though, how you
doing?
doing?
Another one.
How you doing?
Another interruption. We are not going our schedule. I'm doing good. I am doing good. I played Shinobi.
How is that? Dude, I noticed you've been playing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just beat it.
Oh.
And it's so fun. It's
dude,
it's
that
so
demo was great.
Smooth. Like being able to just like do a run in the level just feels great. I never at any point in time was like, man, like if I messed up, it was me, and I could tell it was me. But everything just felt good. It essentially kind of becomes like a Metroidvania. At first, it feels more like it's arcade, like the old school, like Shinobi 3 was the one I played a lot before this, and I liked that. And then it eventually was like you start to get things that you have to get in like later levels to be able to come back and like deal with things in earlier ones. And unlike a Metroidvania where that's all tied into like just one big like level that you go through, this is like broken up into levels. It has all of the like Lizard Cube does amazing artwork. I'm pretty sure Lizard Cube were the actual ones that did the art part of Streets of Rage 4. So it looks a lot like Streets of Rage 4, and it even has like there's a story. You start out in story mode, and after you beat the game, you can then take on each level in arcade mode. There's like time. There's a boss rush. It's basically like playing Streets of Rage 4 just in like a Shinobi form. Yeah, and it was really, really fun.
Dude, I was excited for that game. Played the demo and it was great. So I appreciate you giving us the heads up. The demo came out because that was fun. I love me a Metroidvania game, dude. I love me a Metroidvania style game. You playing anything?
Been playing a lot of Tears of the Kingdom of Zelda. Doing
I've been meaning to get that.
Yeah, it is very good. Did Breath of the Wild and then into Tears of the Kingdom. It's really I've beaten both before. Okay. I just went back and wanted to just kill the fun guys again, but for the first time, if that makes sense.
Kill the fun guys?
Yeah, there's like Lionels. They're like centaur dudes, and they're like really
lion centaur guys.
Yeah, and they can like breathe fire. They got like really good. They have like they're like the top end of like equipment stuff.
So for like drops.
Yeah, So like they got like their bows shoot like 3 or 5 arrows instead of just one. And it's really sweet, but
kill the fun guys.
Yeah, because you can kill them, and then there's a camera, so I just take selfies while they're like dying. So that's really fun to do. You got to stunt. But also, Stardew Valley, I haven't been playing it recently, but they announced a new update, 1.7, at some point. I also
think that is going to be the free game.
I think it is, yeah.
On PlayStation.
Ooh, yeah, it is a free PlayStation game. This.
Do you get to keep it forever?
Yeah. As long as you have PlayStation Plus, you get to keep it.
Download it immediately. It is. Oh, I guess it depends on if you like farming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Stardew Valley is one. Yeah,
I love it so much. It's a good one. What about you, sir?
Stardew Valley reminds you, like, Will would always be like, hey, Stardew Valley, like I'm doing Stardew. I'm kind of cycling between 3 games right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So, admittedly, I tried the whole like the boosted PlayStation like Plus membership, like the top tier, where it gives you like the game catalog and everything. And I gotta say, it's expensive, but I'm enjoying it. Nice. I am enjoying because like I downloaded the original Resident Evil 2, the original Resident Evil 3. Then I downloaded a game that I started when I was 11 years old called The Legend of Dragoon.
I've been seeing you play that.
Yeah, dude, and that game is so nostalgic for me. Back in the day when it was like a game like that had to have like 3 or 4 discs. So Legend of Dragoon was 4 discs, and I remember that the 4th disc that I had was scratched. And so anytime, yeah, man, like when I got to the 4th disc, and anytime a battle would start, it's like in like how it does in Final Fantasy. You don't see the enemies come up to you, and then the screen changes. That's where it would always fail to load. So the first battle, and so I could never get past it. And I wanna beat it. I also downloaded Resident Evil 0. Was like $5, and I did not realize I forgot how hard that game is. I think that it's the Resident Evil that I've played the least. And dude, it is hard. It is like ridiculously. I'm also playing it on hard, but like, like some games can be like, oh, choose the hard.
I'm playing it on like the most impossible difficulty.
But like, I didn't expect it to actually, because most games will be like it'll be hard.
Yeah.
But like this one, they don't give you anything, dude. It's like the expectation is that you just be able to walk around with a knife. In which, if you are a Resident Evil person, the knife is useless, dude. Especially in those old school like tank controls with the fixed camera positions. Nah. But then I just downloaded this game out, Chronos New Dawn, which is made by the same developers of the Silent Hill 2 remake. Bloober Team, yeah. I really enjoyed the Silent Hill 2 remake, so yeah.
This is the one that plays Bloober.
Bloober, okay.
Yeah, you think it's Blooper, but no, it's Bloober.
Bloober.
This is the one that plays sort of like what's the other, like the Space Dead movie.
Oh, Dead Space.
Dead Space, right? I just literally Space Dead. Where like if you don't kill the monster, like the thing right away, it can like merge and get stronger.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, like another enemy that's alive. If they come across an enemy that you kill, but you didn't like incinerate it, it will just absorb that enemy into itself, and it will become stronger. Yeah. It's frantic. Yeah. But I'm enjoying it so far.
That one looked fun. And I saw you like playing all those Resident Evils. I was like, where is he getting these Resident Evils from? I didn't realize that you like jumped up.
Yeah, dude. I was
like, I don't know where you found Legend of Dragoon to start playing it so much.
You know who wasn't playing video games? At least not on the movie. Our characters.
Oh yeah, there was not much video game. It's actually very interesting to go back and see and watch it. There were just certain lines in the movie that made me realize that 13 years ago may be a way longer.
So this is.
I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, was it?
Oh, I was gonna say. So this is one that you like have watched and like really enjoyed.
Yeah. I saw Chronicle. It would have come out my last year of college. And I enjoyed it. I think I remember seeing. I think it was with Matt and like one other person, and I thought it was like a very cool concept. And I very much enjoyed the movie. I'm not saying it didn't have its issues. And there's one that I think I just finally recognized when in this recent rewatch, because there was always this part. And we'll get to it. It's in the third act where I always kind of felt like the third act was like, why is it this way? And then it finally dawned on me why I feel that way. So hopefully, if that makes you interested, stay until the end, guys. But yeah, Chronicle. What do you think of the concept? Like, how do you guys feel about found footage films? I guess
I'm a fan.
Are you guys a fan of found footage? like Blair Witch and things like that.
So there's something that I think is pretty interesting about found footage.
Mm-hmm.
You barely see it anymore. And that's very interesting that it seemingly died out just as everybody suddenly got cameras that they have attached to them at all times. You would think it would have gone on a rise after the smartphone came out. But if anything, it actually dropped, which I don't know why. I don't have an explanation for why that would, or even a theory on why that would be, because everything would point to it going upward. I think to some degree that stupid War of the Worlds movie that came out has that concept of like, because phones have cameras and cameras are everywhere, that concept of somebody being able to look at anything just from a computer pops up. But for the most part, you don't see like, because something, and I think maybe it's because the camera that it's attached to is a phone. So for like the horror element, like a Blair Witch couldn't happen again, because if everybody's on their camera phones filming, you would just switch to using the phone to call for help or something like that. But for Chronicle, it made me realize I like found footage to some degree, but this one annoyed me in the same way that I think rewatching Cloverfield, its beginning kind of annoyed me, and it's that it's found footage, so we need to always bring up the camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like,
why are you filming?
Like, why are you filming, dude? Why you got a camera? Get the camera out of my face, man. Put the camera away. I'll never put the camera away. And it's like, obviously you can't put the camera away, otherwise the movie would end. Yeah. But like, because the camera's always being brought up, it just makes you be like, shut about the camera.
Yeah.
Just, we know the camera exists. We know this person has a camera. Just shut up about it.
The camera becomes like a character in and of itself, is kind of like the thing. But like, do you think that is a more of like a product of questions that might come up from the audience? Because it feels like, I feel like that's something that I've heard audiences say before. There ends up being the question of the why is the camera always present in this particular scenario in the real world? Would somebody have, which I think is kind of like a line that people draw at times of like, why would they have this camera here? Why would they have the camera there? So that question ends up coming up, and it almost kind of feels like the writer is like, well, somebody has to ask, because it would be weird in the real world if somebody was just walking around with it. And I think like back then, which it was 2012. Like, when did the iPhone come out? I thought the iPhone came out like 2008.
2008, 2009.
Because all right. Do you want to give us a synopsis? Because like, actually, let me finish this before I forget. But like, there's a scene, I guess, essentially where they're documenting what they can do with their powers, and one of the main characters, Andrew, he says, "Hey, Steve, put down your phone. We need to document this." And it felt weird hearing that, because I was like,
well, it's also
today
a
you would not
possibility that, like, because I mean it is 2012,
yeah.
So they just may have been like slow in the progression of, or like that transition of switching from like feature phones to smartphones. And to your what you were saying before about like the constant, like what I was kind of saying about that, constantly bringing it up and like why it would need to be brought up, because the camera itself kind of becomes a character. I think that maybe that kind of is why you don't see it today, because we don't question it enough. Back then, it does make sense to question, and maybe even today, we question why someone had like a full on camera,
right,
as opposed to just having their phone out and about. But at some point, you would have heard people ask you about that camera enough that you would just cut it off before they started asking you about the camera. And be like, hey man, what's about the, I'm just filming stuff. Like I'm chronicling what's going on. It would have been great if you said that, so the Chronicle would have been like in credits, but no, but like at some point you would get tired of it and pre-answer, as opposed to just saying nothing, the way that Andrew consistently just would not say words that he could easily just use to explain situations. And I felt like that kind of happened in Cloverfield. I feel like it sort of happened to what made Blair Witch work was that they were filming a movie. Therefore, that's why the found footage worked. Mm-hmm. When it's used as someone saying like we're just filming for fun, but I gotta constantly keep this thing around and constantly on and doing stuff, that's when it becomes like why would you do that?
You know, I was asking myself that question. And I think I've asked myself, like, even when I was originally saw the film. But then the more, like, true crime stories that I've heard where killers do that. Like, there was a story that I was reading about this dude vlogged everything. And so then I started to ask myself, like, damn, like, is it that odd?
I mean, yeah, a killer doing that is still an odd thing. Well,
no, I'm not saying that, it's odd, but I'm saying is, like, when we approach a found footage film, it kind of seemed to me like you're, with the point that you're kind of getting at is just there is the why. Like, it's so strange that why would you make a film out of this? Like, who would do this in the real world is kind of the sense that I was getting.
Well, the thing is that Casey gives you a perfect explanation.
Yeah, she's
like, I'm doing this for my blog.
Okay. Yeah.
So she gives, like, in a movie where you have to question why Andrew is doing it, because Andrew could have given a very valid explanation, which he sort of half does, which is he's trying to document what his father was doing to him, or like how his father was, but then it goes beyond that.
Yeah.
And I was reading things where people were saying that he begins to treat the camera as like a shield, like separate himself from like the people around him, as if he's like this external observer to the world around him. Maybe, but at the same time, if like he could have easily just said, I don't know, I can't remember if they were seniors themselves or not, but like, I'm just chronicling my senior year. I just gave you 4 words,
yeah,
and that it gives you an explanation for why you're doing it.
Yeah.
But to every single time somebody says, "Hey man, well you got that camera," let me get that camera. Like, I think when it comes to this movie, it's because I don't like Andrew. And I think that may be why I'm so... But I think that's why I'm so, like, strict about why the camera existed. Because it's attached to him. And because he was the way he was, it made the camera usage by extension seemed like just like useless, arbitrary thing that was just doing it because the movie wanted to be a found footage movie. And again, with found footage, both Cloverfield and Blair Witch give you this solution of, if it's found footage, who found it? This movie does not give you how it's something that could have been found. Mm-hmm. So how did we see all this? And it's like, to me, I think it was chasing a trend, and it just wanted to just chase the trend in a certain way.
Yeah.
And when you see the person who wrote it, it makes sense why it was that way.
And that's, I think it's a fair point. I don't know, I kind of have these sort of like contradictory feelings about it. Because on the one hand, to me, there are questions that I've always like asked myself, I think, especially when it comes to the genre of like superpowered individuals. And for me, one of those questions always is like, what would it be like if in the real world this actually just happened? And I think that in my personal experience watching Chronicle is that it kind of helped to answer that question, because it made it feel more like this was just a bunch of kids coming across, because the way they were using it. And they get very clever with it and how they evolve, how they use their powers. But it was still very much like teenagers are using these, and I don't know, it's one of those things that kind of makes me, that I've always just kind of found intriguing. Because it just, again, it brings a sort of like realistic nature to it. But yeah, like at the same time, it does bring up the who found it. Because the way the movie is edited, it's almost kind of makes you feel as if somebody was like, I want to make a story out of this. And then let me find all of the surveillance footage that would have been all the apartment buildings and the hospitals that would have been, in the area when this happened, to compile this into a cohesive, like, palatable narrative at the end of the day. Like, all of the cuts between, on one hand, it's cool, but in the back of my mind, I have that question of, how would this be all put together? Because I think to your point, like you're saying, like, it's more chasing a trend rather than it being, like, actually, I guess, serving more of a true purpose to the narrative.
Andrew?
Yeah, so, I guess, sorry, was there a question? Or do you want me to?
No, just how you felt.
Just like, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was going to read the synopsis.
Or if you want to read the synopsis,
sure.
either way.
Yeah, just to get that out of the way. And then, same name and everything, so why not? The synopsis. So Andrew is a socially awkward, introverted teen whose main form of escape and expression is a video camera. But things begin to change when Andrew, his cousin Matt, and popular classmate Steve discover a mysterious substance that leaves them with incredible powers. As their abilities become more powerful, the teens' lives spin out of control when their darker sides begin to emerge. Andrew's camera captures the unfolding events.
It's crazy that synopsis said theirs.
There's what?
Darker sides.
There's really like only one.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, that was, so, I sympathize with Andrew's character. I know you said you feel like he was annoying, but like everything that he was going through, between like his mom going through what she was going through, his father being abusive, sort of putting him in this place where he feels less than everybody around him, which I guess would make sense for somebody who's a senior. I know this is kind of like that cliche sort of like Fast Times at Ridgemont High type mentality, but being made fun of because he's still a virgin and all that, which is like, dude, you're in high school, man. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And all of these things where it just kind of makes him seem like, or makes him feel like he's so isolated. And then getting these powers seems like it should have, if anything, I would have imagined taken away the camera, because he's starting to become more confident, but you can still tell that there's that part of him, that less than part of him, that is still there. It's like somebody with like body dysmorphia. Like, no matter how, like if Chris Bumstead wins 7 Mr. Olympias and he still feels like he's like not where he wants to be, he still feels like he is that skinny kid from like high school or whatnot. You know what I mean? And so it makes me feel this very sort of haunting sense of, I know where this is going and this sucks, because you start to see that he starts to develop friends. He starts to get out of his shell. There's the talent show that they do, and it's like he's getting everything that he wanted, and then everything falls apart. Like, I'm that type of person, when I see that kind of stuff, I'm like, I just want the best for you, man. I hope things go well. And they start to go well, and that is not how the film ends. It's like, actually, there's this very steep decline, this like plummet back towards planet Earth that you know is right around the corner.
So I want to say something, and it may come off as controversial. The reason I don't feel nearly the amount of sympathy for Andrew that I think you do is because, to me, if this weren't a movie and it were real life, instead of having superpowers and doing what he does at the end, he would have just become a school shooter. And I don't have sympathy for school shooters.
Yeah.
So I don't have sympathy for him. Yes, his life sucked. I said it in my notes. I said the beginning is rough because of the things that occur to him. Mm-hmm. But unlike a person that just decides to take a gun and go off and shoot up a school, he is given a gift. And instead of taking the gift and treating it as such, he turns it into a weapon. Mm-hmm. And this is a villain origin story. I don't have sympathy for villains. I don't have sympathy for Thanos. Like, the person I come closest to may be like Magneto, because he knows when and when not to do things that someone like Andrew did not. Does it suck? Because, I mean, yeah, we all everything was from his point of view. But we also don't talk about the fact that Matt, literally, when he asked Matt, does Matt like him? He takes what Matt says as Matt being another one of the bullies. But Matt says, you are not an easy person to deal with or talk to. And he's always been that way. Andrew himself is also part of Andrew's problem. Mm-hmm. But he never sees it that way. So I can't hold sympathy for him because he becomes the major factor in his own demise.
Yeah. No, I think it's a very fair way of looking at it. And I think, like, once he starts to do everything, then, like, all sympathy disappears. It's like everything that's like leading up to it. It's him getting beat by his dad. It's like the video camera footage with him and his mom, and you know where that's headed. It's how he's treated by everyone at school, to where it does feel like when he's shown eating lunch for the first time, he's by himself. He's like always by himself. Of course, none of that justifies the end result, right? Like, none of that justifies just going out and outright killing people that he starts to do. Because it seems like he also in his head is maybe trying to justify it a little bit. Because at first, when he crosses that line, It's with people that he thinks, oh, these are bad guys. These are the 4 or so people that I think he thinks or assumes are drug dealers in his neighborhood. And then it goes beyond that. And then it just like escalates and escalates more. And then you start to like, dude, like chill. The thing is his life was headed, like, to your point, he is given a gift, and it is putting his life actually on a trajectory that was far, like, dude, he's got friends. He's now friends with like the most popular dude in school who legitimately is his friend.
Yeah.
And I just, if you don't mind, I want to talk about this, like, I guess
sure.
now before I forget. I think that's part of the reason why I don't like that final battle. In my mind, I think it should have been Matt that. Okay,
dude, you're about to say that Matt should have died instead of Steve,
and it should have been Steve versus Andrew.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
I literally did you write this Reddit post that I read like just yesterday?
No, I was. So in earlier, and when we started recording this episode, I was like, I never knew what it was, and I think that's why. Because to me, Steve and Andrew were the best at using those abilities. Steve was the one who first figured out they could fly.
Yep.
You've got the scenes with Andrew. He's putting Lego stuff together. He's doing it like he's figuring out all this stuff. He was the first one to show that he stopped the baseball from hitting his face. And you're like, dang, like, dude, like these. And Matt just seemed like he could care less about these abilities. He never was innovative with anything. He always just seemed like he was just kind of aloof. So it just seemed like such a weird, like, battle to pit them against each other. Why? Just because they're cousins? Like, to me, all of the scenes that I think made those characters feel, even like with Steve, when Steve's finally letting parts of himself open up to Andrew, I'm like, you guys seem closer together than Matt and Andrew.
But I think that's why Steve had to be the one to die. Especially because, well, I mean, I'll just say it outright. The movie is a cure.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah, that's one of the thoughts I had as well when I first,
And Matt is, like, Canada. Like, he is more Canada than Steve is. Steve needed to be the sacrifice that made the movie truly, like, do the turn to the dark side. Because if it were Matt, I don't think the loss of Matt would have hit a viewer nearly the way that the loss of Steve did, because Steve was this just like vivacious. He's always happy. He's always like, he's, you know, like top, like he's the class president. He's the, like, he himself says, like, I'm not perfect, but I try to be the best at everything I can possibly be. Like, he is the light of the three. So when the darkness that consumes Andrew is able to snuff out that light, it's much different than if it would have just been Matt, who had been pretty neutral up until that point. He would have just been another like blip, and then obviously, you probably wanted to see like you would think that Steve would have provided a better fight for Andrew because the two were like closer in their abilities.
Yeah,
but I think with Matt, it was more so that, because Matt himself has said that he wanted to be altruistic. He wanted to be a hero in a sense. This was as much as this was a villain origin story, it also was a hero origin story, and Matt was the hero. And Matt basically like got plot armor the way that a hero would, in which his power, like, because his need to stop Andrew, like, it raised his ability. Like, if we had seen this from the other perspective and it was all Matt, and Matt was the one that, like, and Matt then took off to fight Andrew, you probably would have been like, oh, okay. That's how it should be, because that's how the story unfolds. This is just us seeing it from the opposite angle. This would be like Achilles seeing Odysseus instead of Odysseus seeing, like, Achilles.
But I guess this is one of the things that I think about, like, why not? I feel like then some of the writing needs to change. Because I think that's, like, when I'm watching it, is like, I'm not sold on the idea that Matt could hold a candle to Andrew in a fight. I'm just not. Like, I'm watching and I'm like, I think Andrew would actually just kind of snuff him out quick. But when you bring up plot armor, and it's like, yeah, I guess if you frame it that way, then it makes sense. But in my eyes, it just felt like Andrew was taking things to a whole nother level, that the only person I felt could rival it would have been Steve. And I think that was kind of like the most disconcerting thing about that fight ultimately.
He also was nerfed though, because he blew himself up.
Who, Andrew?
Andrew, yeah.
Which was like barely he like backed up into a light post, like which. Oh, you
no, he got blown up with the
propane tank.
The propane tank.
Right, with the propane tank. But I mean, like with. So I guess he wasn't in a lot of pain, sure, but he was still like super powerful in doing. But I mean, like when they were flying, and he's got his eyes and focus on that, but then he backs up into a light post, and he hits it, and then he goes and he just like falls down to the ground. I'm like, dude, like you've been stopping bullets. You guys have like telekinesis shields over your body, and you back up into a light post, and that's what makes.
Well,
you
I think
fall
he's
this
been,
way?
hopped up on morphine, like being lit on fire.
I guess if you are, yeah.
So he's probably not
Yeah,
the most.
so he also was Andrew, not this Andrew, but he was.
We always got to clarify, just in case we're not talking about.
I appreciate it.
So, the movie. When did Cloverfield come out?
2008.
8, right?
Yeah.
So it definitely feels like Max was chasing. I shouldn't even say he was chasing a trend because I don't think there was too much in between these two movies.
When did Paranormal Activity start?
I think Paranormal Activity started after this, but it all could have happened at the same time as well.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. Clearly, Max wanted to write an Akira story that used found footage, and in our Power Rangers 2017 review, I said that it was Chronicle, Power Rangers, the Chronicle something. I forget what that whole entire was, but I added Chronicle to it because there are Chronicle elements within it. And rewatching it, I was like, yep, it definitely has Chronicle elements in it. But there are things that kind of didn't make sense to me. So, Steve mentions that they get telepathy. And it felt like telepathy was the only real power that they possessed. But telepathy doesn't let you snatch or even create lightning to snatch it out of the sky.
Well, they said telekinesis.
Did he say I'm sorry, even telekinesis wouldn't do that.
Well,
Jean Grey cannot copy Storm's powers. Like, a telekinetic person cannot create and yank lightning out of the sky.
Well, the thing is I didn't take that as like... That is kind of weird. Because I took it as there was already a storm happening, and he somehow used his telekinesis to bend the lightning bolt to Steve rather than creating the storm himself and doing that. That's what I assumed, but like even still,
because
like,
Matt says that there was
doesn't Matt say there wasn't a lightning storm?
No recorded lightning strikes.
But I mean, I think the electricity can still be in the atmosphere. I'm not a cloud scientist, but so I don't know. But I think it maybe could be I'm just naming it as telekinesis was just the most close thing that they have is the only thing I can think of.
I would have just said ill-defined power set.
Ill-defined.
And you know what? That's why you should have wrote this, Dave.
So speaking of writing, the reason I brought up the writing earlier and why I brought his name up recently. So the script was written by Max Landis, son of John Landis, director of such movies as Twilight Zone, the movie, which is a very controversial movie because people died in it. And John Landis did not get any fault for it.
What? Did people die while filming the movie? Or people
died
in
while
the film?
filming the movie.
Wow.
People, like multiple.
Yeah. No. The main actor
what?
and 2 children were killed in a scene in Twilight Zone. I want to say it's Twilight Zone movie. There's a scene where essentially it's like a Vietnam flashback or something like that. And there's like a helicopter scene. In reality, what happened, the helicopter ends up crashing. And it crashes into the actor and these 2 kids, and they are decapitated and die.
What?
And they John and them were warned not to do this shot because the helicopter had to fly too low and weather was bad, and it ends up being just called a freak accident. John and nobody get in trouble, and they just going about their day.
That's wild. But also, how do you continue filming?
You don't have your star.
Huh?
That was like the end. It was that was like the last bit of the movie. Yeah, pretty much done 99% of the movie up until that last.
So you did 99% of the movie, and you're like, they might die. They could die doing this. So let's just save this for the end of the shoot. Like
maybe that was what he was thinking, but it happens.
Wow.
And nothing happens to them. So while I'm not putting that on Max, because Max was not a part of that, Max does have his own controversies dealing with misogyny and like sexual misconduct, which sucks because Max wrote and directed, and I think is even a part of this YouTube video that I really enjoyed, which is called "Wrestling is Wrestling," which was a story about how like he enjoyed wrestling and how wrestling can be seen just like any other television show that you ever watch through the chronicling of just like one character, which in this case was Triple H. So it's like I forget how long it was. It was a really big thing, like kind of like in the mid 2010s. No, actually, it may have come out before Chronicle. I can't remember, but I really enjoyed it. And when I saw that he wrote this, I think he wrote this, American Ultra, and like a couple other movies. This movie is written in a way that you can tell it's 2012. It does not, like, just a look at it, you're like, yeah, it's 2011, 2012.
What stands out for you for
just the, like, that kind of weird, like, transition between the technology we had back then and the technology we have today, the choice of, like, music, the way that, like, everybody's dressed and the way that they act. It also has that, like, those, like, key, like, weird Hollywood-esque moments, like, oh, we're going to this, like, barn rave.
Yeah.
But they're all high school kids.
Yeah. Like, okay, show of hands here. How many... I wasn't invited to any parties in high school, but I didn't think any of them were like that. Have you guys ever been to like a high school?
I've been to high school parties,
warehouse?
but no like abandoned rave parties and like in warehouses or barns. Like nope, or like in multi-million-dollar mansions.
Yeah,
that's Steve's place. Yeah, I'm assuming that was that Steve's house?
I have no idea whose house that was in. Like, things that you want the answers to, Andrew just was not around for those parts. Yeah. So you just got to pop up on it.
Unfortunately, there wasn't, like, another surveillance camera that could have caught it.
Like, nope.
Them buying the house, them moving in.
So like the person putting together the found footage was like, I don't care about that part.
Yeah. But anybody got some footage from that hospital?
Or that camera footage right outside that person's, like, apartment? Or in their apartment as well?
Dude, there were a lot. Were there other... Was there anything else, though, I think, that gave you those 2012 vibes?
2012 vibes? No. It was just that the aesthetic was very 2012. It's also interesting that both of those movies take place in, like, the Pacific Northwest. So it has that, like, overcast, like, dark like, grayness to it.
Kind of like Seattle grayish look to it, yeah. Oh, baby, I hear the blues are calling, toss salad and scrambled it.
Oh, my.
Quite Frasier, man. I love me some Frasier, sorry. Did you notice anything that would have brought... Because, so when this movie came out, you would have been, what, like 16?
Yeah, graduated high school in 2014.
Okay. Sorry, I was doing the weird math. So, okay.
So
you
yeah,
would have been like
16.
15. You would have been, I think, going on 16 that year, right? So, was it... Because watching it, and it made me laugh again, and like getting to that age where you're watching movies, and even movies that were like 10 years ago, when he has that, like, that scene where they're doing the talent show. And Steve, before he introduces Andrew, he's like, let me hear it. Put your hands together, class of 2012. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this is high school. I was graduating college that year.
Yeah.
And we're like, these are supposed to be high school seniors. Did it feel for you like that was that like high school vibe for you at that time?
Oh yeah, and like just like how the school, just like how it felt, and like all the decorations, the stuff they had, was very much just like, oh yeah, that's high school.
That was high school. That was high school spirit. That was
it pretty much hit every Midwest high school, even though they're like Pacific Northwest. But yeah, it was, I don't know.
Was this your first time seeing the movie?
No, this was, I think, my second time seeing it. I think I only saw the first one on like maybe old school. I don't want to say old school HBO, but like where it was like the channel was Chronicle, the movie playing like on TV.
Oh, like when you're slipping through like the TV guide or something like that.
Yeah.
I remember those days.
Yeah, movie HD, whatever that channel was. But yeah, and then I think I'd seen it maybe like 2014, 2013, so
Okay.
after it had just come out, so it was very. But I don't know. It truly is just like if this guy. I mean, maybe this is too insensitive of a sentence, but just if he would have just chilled out. Like, I mean, I get there was a lot of things that were going on that were bad for him, but like, I don't know. It's just, it really is that teenage, just like, this is the end of the world because this is all I know.
Yeah.
So it was very much just like seeing it again as an adult. I'm like, Jesus, just like take a breath.
Well, it also kind of reminds me of like Peter Parker, like having gotten his abilities and well, I guess it's in a way, but also very much different. Like with what he could do. Was there nothing that you could have figured out, a way to use your abilities to make more money, to help the family out,
robbing.
like,
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
He was given a gift.
Yeah.
And instead of taking the gift, he turned it into a weapon.
Yeah.
Like, even when Steve essentially showed him how to use the gift in a way that would benefit him. And,
what way are you talking about?
When they did
like
the talent show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
true.
yes. Sorry. Yeah, absolutely.
So, like my first instinct would be if I had these abilities, be to do something with them that got me money. Mm-hmm. Like, would I be a hero? But I know I wouldn't be a villain.
Yeah.
But I definitely. I don't know if everything I did would be for altruistic means, other than maybe lining my pockets. But I'd definitely be lining my pockets if I had superpowers.
Well, I feel like that's just kind of inevitable. Like that's. I mean,
I don't know.
What is lining your pockets too much? Like what would be an
like
egregious...
robbing a bank.
In like Jumper, this is a totally different movie, but like if I had the Jumper powers, like that's what I'm doing the first thing. I'm robbing a bank. Like that's like I don't know. That says something about me, but like just I'm getting some cash.
Like if you could do essentially what he did was like treat magic as if you really were doing magic.
Yeah.
Like imagine like that you're killing Chris Angel.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Angel can't do that. You'd be getting money so quick.
Yeah, you're good.
Was Chris Angel Mind Freak?
Yeah.
Mind Freak. Yeah, okay.
You could legitimately get yourself out of.
Yeah,
like, you could do some
just
Houdini
do whatever
shit.
you want.
Yeah.
Maybe like, dang, this dude is magical.
Yeah, truly.
Like, was it editing? No, I saw him do it in real life.
He won't explain his secrets, but no, that's fair. Yeah, there's a lot of avenues that you could have gone. You know, when the person's like, I understand that like $750 with that medication scene, it's nothing, especially for however old he was. 17, 18-year-old kids are just like balk at, especially since he wasn't working.
Also, if you were going to commit the crime, just steal the medicine.
Yeah, truly. Well, I think they were saying they had to.
Then find out where it is. Fly over and take it.
You can fly there.
But I guess was that, now that you bring that up, I wonder now, was that just one of those lines that they had to put in there as a way to like circumnavigate that question of audiences? Like, why not just steal the medicine? Oh, well, you got to pay, and then it's the next day.
Yeah.
Because he said it like twice.
Right. No.
I think even his dad brought it up when he was on the phone with the pharmacist at one point. Or he at least
I thought
said
it was
that,
just like, hey, she's in pain. Like, we need this
we need something
medication.
stronger.
Do we know what her illness was? Was it cancer?
I don't think we were ever told.
No,
I don't think it's
just that she
disclosed.
needs
Because I feel like he also didn't try to use his magic abilities to do something with her.
Right. He rolled her over.
Well,
I do wonder. I did have this question of like, what would it have been like if, because we don't get much information about the entity that actually gave them the abilities, right? Like very quickly and early on in the movie, after they get their powers, it's sealed off. There is a scene that I don't think is in the original where it's not the first time they go back to that site. There's actually another time. It's Andrew by himself goes to that site.
Oh.
And he goes there by himself, and he's using the camera. At this point, he's using telekinesis just to kind of keep the camera floating around him. Mm-hmm. But it pivots, and it starts to slowly rise up. That you could see that the focal point of where that, whatever, like a meteor or whatever it was that hit, created like some kind of spiral around the ground. But he never goes in. Like, it never shows him go back into the hole or try to dig it back up or anything. But I was wondering, like, what if it was something that came from, like, an alien race? Like, what if that was, I guess maybe my mind taking it to, like, an Avengers route, that there was some kind of other alien life form that has similar abilities, and the three of them had to, like, team up to fight this thing.
I would have liked that, actually. Or if it was Zordon down there, who knows? Like, what I do find interesting about that fact that when he finally got started doing the telekinesis with the camera thing, I feel like that was their way of, like, trying to be like, we want to use more traditional camera shots.
They're like, we're done with this found footage nonsense.
It's like, we're like, oh yeah, he just some telekinesis
Floated
floated around him. Now we can do all these one shots that I'd like to be able to do, but a person holding the camera doing this would make sense to be able to do. So you watched the director's cut.
Yeah.
I have to ask this question because I don't know if anybody watched the credits.
I didn't go through the entirety of the credits.
Okay. So the waitress. What happens in the director's cut with her?
I'm sorry. So there's a scene in the credits with the waitress?
There is not a scene at all. But if you go through the credits roll all the way through, and then you even get the studio, like the Columbia Pictures, Sony, all that.
Yeah.
Ends, and then another credit pops up that specifically says waitress Vanessa Lee, and then the movie ends.
Okay.
And I looked, I was like, why did that happen?
Yeah.
And someone said that she has more scenes in the director's cut. But I'm like, why does that?
Waitress? I think
so the waitress, so when they're in the diner and he makes the Virgin Mary in his soup or something, and then
syrup, I think it's the syrup from the
syrup, syrup, and then this waitress comes over and she gets freaked out because she sees, he's like, hey, can you see this? And she freaks out, and then it cuts, and then she then suddenly seems like she's fine and is helping people, even though she just freaked out about the Virgin Mary.
Right.
And then he uses telekinesis again to because he's been bullying her at this point, and he uses telekinesis to make her dish cart roll away, and she freaks out again. And in the regular cut, that's only 2 times you see her. So the fact that she gets this shout out at the very end,
there is no more.
Wow.
No, you started when you brought that up, dude. I'm like, okay, so maybe none of that scene was in the original. I'm like, no, you brought up Virgin Mary and the fact that he moved the cart. Those were the only 2 scenes, even in the director's cut. So I have no idea why they would need to single her out. It's what?
It just,
they just forget to put her somewhere else in the credits, and they're like, oh shit, Vanessa Lee, the waitress. Go ahead and just add her to the end of the credits,
because it was very much that at the end of a Marvel movie when it's the Fantastic Four will return.
Yeah,
it literally is just
Vanessa Lee.
Vanessa Lee. You're what?
Maybe it was just a joke then. Maybe. Oh no, because Avengers wouldn't have. Iron Man. But I would have had 2 movies by then, Thor and Captain America. Yeah. So maybe it was just because they would go on to I think they would go on to team up for Fantastic Four, right? That came out in 2015. I thought that I know Josh Trank was the director of that one, and I thought that he commissioned Max Landis to help with the script.
I think Max Landis does help with the script. I don't think he's the full script writer, but I think he does help with that one.
Okay.
It was just so weird because I was thinking to myself it's 2012. Marvel's been doing this for a little short while. Does this have an end credit scene? No, it has an end credits credit.
Waitress
waitress. I was like, the hell? Who does this?
Dude, one of the things that I very much I love, just one of the aspects I love about the film is just the slow ramping up of them realizing what they can do with their abilities.
Mm-hmm.
I always just thought was so cool.
It is
to
very
the point
fun.
where they're Steve invites him out. I don't see you. And he gets the text message look up, and he's just floating there.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that's so cool. Just how they started to just ask themselves those questions. Okay, I can do this. How can I? Even when they were, I think, at the diner, and he takes the fork and stabs his hand, and it bends because he created a force field over his hand. I'm like, it makes me wonder that when it comes to the ability of telekinesis and in other fictional media that I've seen, they really weren't going all that far with it. It seems to a degree, they would allow themselves to levitate and things like that. But it seems like they were getting very creative with what they could do here, or at least I guess I should say. For as little time as we saw of these 3 characters and the abilities that they were manifesting, it seems like they evolved quite a bit, very quickly. And I know that somebody like Jean Grey, of course, would be 10 times stronger than them. But it's you don't always see their ability of telekinesis utilized in that way. I guess you could technically create a little bit of armor over yourself that no one else could see. or how he was describing how he ripped the bully's teeth out, like I did a lasso trick. I was like, what? So you created like a lasso with your fingers and pulled his teeth out? Like, from
I guess like
it's interesting.
It's like kind of explained with telekinesis that it is like this kind of form of like, it's not just a push pull like concept, like you're just moving stuff with your mind. It's like it's like thinking of taking your hands and moving or picking something up or manipulating something in some way. Just you aren't doing it with your hands. And now that you say that, I kind of wish Jean Grey came in this movie and just packed up Andrew. But
that would be pretty slick.
Just done with you.
The Phoenix Force.
So I think we're at a point with this movie where we do our thing of giving out Panharmonicons. For those who don't know, a Panharmonicon is an old school like 1800s instrument. It's also a Magic the Gathering card.
Yes, which is
but it is an old 1800s instrument that's like supposed to be something akin to like a self-playing organ. So when we give Panharmonicons, think of that, or think of the Magic the Gathering card.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe we'll eventually do something with like a little Magic the Gathering card, like they will pop up and they like highlight how many we were giving. So
that's fun. Yeah, that's fun. That's a neat little trick. Yeah, we could do that.
Do you want to give your little jingle? Do you remember your jingle?
It's probably gonna be slightly off.
Oh, new jingle.
How many Panharmonicons will it get? How many Panharmonicons will it get? How many Panharmonicons will it get? Spit.
So how many Panharmonicons are we giving this one, guys?
Oh, I was looking at over at you. If I had to get, I would give it 3 out of 5 Panharmonicons.
Did you want to give a why or?
No, go ahead.
That's a choice. I think I'm leaning at a 2. Like, I think it's very. I love the story. I do love that. Like, what if we got superpowers like that? Like, if I was in high school, and I got superpowers, like that's probably what would happen.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I guess it's just looking back and cringing. It doesn't help that his name's Andrew. And so, like, it's really just being like, also, oh my God, dude, just, like, chill out. He does have a lot of bad things going on in his life. But, yes, I would say probably about a 2. Like, it's very, like, I do love it, but it's just, I don't know, it doesn't really get there for me.
Yeah, no, totally fair.
I am directly in the middle of you two at a 2.5 Panharmonicons.
Oh, yeah.
Out of 5. I don't know if we ever say how many Panharmonicons exists, but there are 5 of them. And I'm at 2.5 out of 5 of them. When this movie first came out, I really liked it. And I think maybe it's because at that time that movie made sense to me. And I've seen it a couple of times since, but like this time just really going over it with a critical eye, just too many things stood out as kind of issues with the movie itself and left me really just thinking like, oh man, 2012, Damon, were we good? But it's not that I dislike the movie. It's just that it had a lot of issues for a movie that had a lot that should have been going for it. And I think there could have been directions that it took that would have really helped the movie a lot. And I know it is one of those things where this movie should probably be remade. And instead of a director's cut, it needs to just truly be remade. And I think it would be better for it. But that's all I have to say on Chronicle. You guys got anything else you'd like to put out there?
I do not.
Yeah,
well then,
we hit every bit.
Audience, thank you guys for listening to another episode of Panharmonicon Studios Presents,
a podcast.
If you guys can give us a like on YouTube, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, give us a thumbs down.
Yeah.
If you're like, man, Chronicle was the best, y'all are tripping, put that in the comments.
Yeah.
Defend it. I think we're always too nice to movies. Maybe if you guys think that we, because we were kind of sour on this one just a little bit.
That's true.
So if you think like, nah, man, you guys are tripping, this was really actually an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Put that down there, argue with us, and we'll tell you why you might be wrong. Or you might be right, for all we know. Share, subscribe if you have not subscribed. And if you have subscribed, hit that notification bell. It'll let you know all the other things that we are doing that aren't the podcast. My Spotify peeps, if you guys can give us a little rating there after you finish this, drop a comment if you thought this movie was the bee's knees, and I'll talk to you in the Spotify comments. And above all else, thank you guys for listening. We appreciate every single time you listen. We appreciate every single time you engage with us. And we just really want to say, because this is episode 25, we're a quarter of a century into Panharmonicon Studios Presents, a podcast. And if you'd like to see us reach a century, ride along with us.
Absolutely.
We're going to live forever.
I mean, right?
Forever.
We should do Highlander. That would be fun.
Oh, shit.
Well, folks, signing off. This has been Farron.
This is Andrew.
Yeah, this is Damon.
And this has been yet another episode of Panharmonicon Studios Presents
A
podcast.
Bye, everyone. Hope to catch you in the next one.
See you.
Hey, guys. Guys, you guys up?
Yeah.
Hey, today was like, I think the best day of my life. Like, I mean, I'm thinking about it, and I can't think of any day that I like better than today, you know? I think it was.
Yeah. Unanimous. Yes.
Okay.